Hello, and welcome back to the video lecture series for Introduction to the Art of Programming using Scala. In this chapter, in the book itself, we introduce the software life cycle and run you through the different steps: the analysis, design, implementation, debugging, and maintenance. In the videos, there's not really much of a reason for me to repeat kind of the lecture material. I like to, in the videos, primarily demonstrate how things work and give you the stuff that the static book can't. So in this case, we're working on a project. Now, in the book itself, the project that's worked on is a drawing program, and it takes you through the steps in writing that drawing program. In the videos, I'm actually going to choose a separate project. Part of this is for the diversity, just so that you can see something different. Another part is due to the simple reason that even if I were to pick the same project, I wouldn't come up with the same result, in the sense that things would wind up being different. Even if I solve exactly the same problem, I will write different code to do it each time, and as programs get bigger, they would deviate more and more. So instead of trying to exactly recreate the drawing program as it is developed in the book, I'm working on a different project here. And the project that I want to do in the videos is something of a, I don't know how to refer to it, an electronic classroom type of project. It is going to be networked, and the idea is that it can be logged into by students or by faculty, and you can have multiple courses added into it. It should be a program that students can use, for example, to take quizzes or tests, also to do exercises for a class. In fact, it would be a class much like the one that might use this book. And because it's something that might use this book, you want to have the ability for exercises to include writing code and executing the code, etc. Now, this is going to be a networked application, so there's going to be both a client side and a server side to it. And what I want to do is kind of run you through at least a little bit of the process of doing the analysis, and in this video the analysis, and in the next video the design for a project like this. And then we'll get to the point where we'll write a little bit of code. So one of the significant steps in doing an analysis. So analysis is actually defining the problem, and I've kind of loosely described the types of things that you could do. If you were really doing a formal analysis, you would want to go into detail. What are all the different features, the different things that a user can do when running this system? And we'd also do things like, if there were GUIs for it, draw them out, show what it's going to look like. So we're kind of talking about what it's going to look like and what it's going to do. That's the analysis phase. And you'll note that at this point, there is no coding. We're not even thinking about coding. That's one of the significant aspects of analysis. One of the tools that's often used for analysis is use case diagrams. So these are UML use case diagrams. UML stands for Unified Modeling Language, and it's a graphical tool for doing things. Now, one of the things about UML is that it is, the term that's often used is, it is whiteboard friendly. You can draw out UML diagrams quite nicely. I'm not going to do that for these purposes. I am going to draw them on the computer, and I'm going to use a tool called Creately to draw this. So this is the Creately tool, and I have created a use case diagram. I do not necessarily expect that you will do your things under Creately. You will probably do most of your UML on paper or on whiteboards. But the advantage of UML is that it gives you a way of expressing ideas that is more visual and involves a lot fewer words than what you would have had if you were to just write straight up prose for it. So in the case of a use case diagram, there are just a few elements. Use case diagrams in many ways are very simple. We have systems, and So I can create a system here by dragging it over. In this case, I am going to go with the client. Okay, so in some ways there's actually two pieces of software that we're going to write here. I'm going to work first with the client. And so this box represents everything that the client itself can do. There are other types of things that we can have inside of here. And so the next element is an actor. Now the actors, they're represented by little stick figures. A lot of times these are indeed people. So one of the actors in our system then would be a student. Okay. Student should have the ability to log in to this system and do whatever the features were. It is also possible the same client is going to be used by the instructor. Actually, we could write a separate client for the instructor. For now, I'm going to go with the assumption that we'll put both the instructor and the student inside of the same client and have them interact with the same piece of software. Now, the actors aren't always people. Okay? The actor can be anything that is external to the system that causes the system to do things. And in this particular case, in addition to the student or the instructor, the person who's logged in, telling the client to do something, it is also possible that the other program that is involved, the server, can also ask for the client to do things. So I'll just throw that in there. Now I mentioned, so beyond these, and you can see over here, there's another type of actor if you don't like the simple stick figure. The third element that we're going to be adding, and so we're only going to add actors, the system, and a use case. In fact, we'll add lots of use cases. That's the primary thing that gets put in here, as is given away by the fact that these are called a use case diagram. I've already mentioned one use case. When you first run this program, one of the things that you have to do is log in. If this program is going to be used to store significant information, you have to be able to log into it. Now, who can log in? Well, the server can't really log in, but the student and the instructor would need the ability to log in. And we indicate that by drawing a connection between the two. And I'll stick with the generalization here. So this says that the student can log in, and I also want to have it so that the instructor can log in to the system. What are other things that you should be able to do? Well, the student is going to need to have the ability to select a course. Okay. And once again, I'm going to connect the student there. I might also want the student to be able to take a quiz. Okay. That would be another use case for things that I've mentioned in here. And we would want to continue doing this process and come up with every possible thing that we foresee whatever the user is doing. Now, taking a quiz is probably only for students. Turns out that selecting a course is the type of thing that we might also want to have it so that our instructors can do. So both students and instructors can log in and select courses. Only students take quizzes. Probably in the case of an instructor, the equivalent would be make a quiz. Okay? And so that is a use case that is available to the instructor, but not to the student. You can also imagine if there is a login, that there will be a logout. And so we would build up a significant set of different actions that the actors in the system can do. How do they interact with the system? What can they tell the system to do? Now, in some cases, so this right here is a fairly